Casio, you've done it again. You've brought back a budget banger from the 80s and I love it. Let's get into it. Yes! Welcome to the Mad Watch Collector's Show. It's another show about
Casio!
The best Casio release of 2021, in my opinion, was the A100. A beautiful futuristic retro digital watch that Casio first released in 1978. So for the whole of 2022, I've been scouring the internet trying to find me the best release for this year. There aren't many watch companies out there that can cherry pick little gems that we've all forgotten about. Take a look at this bad boy, the AQ-450.
Annie Digi.
Came out in the mid-80s and at first glance looks a lot similar to a watch that I already owned that came out in that time, the AQ-230. Now back in those days, the only people that would be wearing these AQ-230s, in my opinion, would be your dads or granddads. Your typical 80s film dad, like the dude from Teen Wolf.
An explanation is probably long overdue.
Not wearing anything fancy and want a watch to do the job and look nice doing it. Well, even though this AQ-450 looks quite similar to that watch, it definitely looks more sporty. The LCD screen that slopes down does remind me of my CX-611. There's something gadgety to it, you know? Also, I love the red and the blue colours at the bottom of that LCD screen, just to give it a bit more of a sporty look. We've got a crown there at 3 o'clock, and those pushers are really fat and big. Also, you can't not notice how good that three-hander dial is. I absolutely love that grid pattern. That brings up a lot of memories I'll share later. By the way, you might be interested to know what the wife thought of this watch. Anyway, when I heard Casio were going to re-release this watch, I was on the internet in a flash. These re-releases looked really cool. I tell you what I wasn't particularly fond of. The models. Look like a couple of vampire zombies showing this off. Anyway, it did not put me off buying the watch. I decided to go for the black and silver variant. I think that works the best in my eyes. Any gold watches like that just remind me of old people, you know? All right, Jory? I bought this on a Spanish site called Tic Tac Area. I have bought from them in the past. And this newly released bad boy just cost me £38. For the fun and nostalgia it's going to give me, this is well worth it. So, is this brand new Casio AQ800 worthy of being named the best budget Casio release of 2022? There's only one way to find out. Are you Retro Casio ready? Let's go! And here it is, the AQ-800E in all its glory. Obviously, being a budget Casio, this is one of those resin-cased affairs. Very lightweight, with any weight coming from the bracelet.
It's very shiny.
Straight away, I'd love to see one of these with a brushed finish like my calculator watch. But I absolutely love the layout of this watch. It's a very interesting mix between the dressiness of that dial to the downright digital functionality of the screen below. The whole weight of this thing is only 52 grams, which is crazy light. It's not a round watch, so the dimensions are going to be a bit different. It's 40.7 millimeters from top to bottom and just over 32 in width. It's also a very thin watch of just over 8.5 millimeters. This thing will definitely fit under a cuff. We've got 2 buttons on the side and 1 recessed on the right. Quite similar layout to my AQ230. But on first impressions, what a glossy stunner. The glass is resin or plastic, mineral, nothing too fancy. This is budget, it was £38. We do have a stainless steel case back, but it's just press in. And we do have that ironic WR logo on this watch for water resistant. It will probably only resist a very light rain. So that's a bit disappointing. Like on many of my Casios, the stainless steel bracelet doesn't match the case. To be fair, I don't think you could make stainless steel that glossy. Anyway, I love these bracelets and I know a lot of others do. I don't have too many hairs on the wrist, so I got no worries. They are rolled links and the clasp part of the watch adjusts the size of it to you. Put a little pin or a spring bar remover tool inside the opening, lever it out, slide that clasp left or right until you get a perfect fit. Now let's really take a look at that dial, shall we? Because this is cool. It completely takes me back to my childhood. When I look at this watch, I just think Sega Mega Drive. I'm a Sega kid. Sonic before Mario. Obviously, the greatest game ever made is Super Mario Kart. You know, that's a gimme. But in the late 80s, me and Sonic had a rather special relationship. I cannot tell you the amount of hours I spent running after stupid Dr. Robotnik as soon as I got home from school. But that Mega Drive packaging is this grid dial. What else am I getting with this dial? It's gotta be Mask. Well, I look at this dial, I'm just remembering the intro. Obviously, I had Matt Tracker and the Thunderhawk car. Oh, don't come in, I'm working. And yes, unfortunately my brother had Venom. It's not my fault, he liked purple, alright? Back then, all baddies seemed to be purple. Am I right, Skeletor? No. We do have glossy applied indices, as well as a glossy handset. Back in the 80s, the AQ450s had a ticking seconds hand. This one doesn't. Take it or leave it. To maneuver the handset, you just have to put a little pencil in on that right recessed pusher. Keep your finger on it, and away those hands go. But it can take a while. I'd much prefer a crown. Anyway, once you've set it, fingers crossed you won't need to change it again until the battery goes after about 3 to 4 years. What are the other modes of this watch, I hear you ask? Well, let's take a look down at that LCD screen. Bottom left pusher is our mode button. First mode is our date and day. Second mode is our alarm. Third mode is our dual time. And in actual fact, this watch can tell you the time in 3 different places if you want. 1 on the dial and 2 on the LCD screen.
Your Rolex Pepsi GMT can't do that.
Anyway, another thing it can't do is a stopwatch. Top left pusher starts it, top left stops. Keep your finger on the top left and that resets it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it. Now, the one thing that this watch is missing is a backlight. One more pusher in the top right of this case would not only look good in symmetry terms, but it would look great in functionality terms. Even the F91's got a blooming backlight. There are no lume on the hands, so in the dark, this watch looks like this. Let's hope you don't need it in the dark.
Hello.
On my 6.5-inch wrist, and this watch really does have presence. A lot more than the 230, that's for sure. As I've said before, it looks a lot like my calculator watch, the 611 I own, but this one's really got something about it. You can imagine that Rick Moranis from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids would wear one of these. There's a little bit of gadgetry in there, even though it's a third complicated as your basic toaster. This is old man retro. This is cool retro. And for 38 quid, what an inexpensive way to fall in love with watches again. Also, be my guest to pass this show along to your partners. Christmas is coming. Here it is, my wife's first impressions of the AQ800. Haha. No. It looks like an old man's bedside clock. You haven't bought this, have you? I'll tell her I just bought it for the channel. Thank you so much for everyone getting to the end of this show. Do the subscribes, do the likes, all the good stuff. If you want a bit more of the Mad Watch Collector, why don't you join? Just click here. And if you got a few more minutes, why don't you watch this show? This is fantastic. Oh my God. I've forgotten what I did in it, to be honest, but I'm sure it was good. I did take a lot of time on it. Go on, click it. It's so good. Go on. Click it. I'll see you there. Go on. Click it. Click it. Click it.